Welcome back. We are working on conditional sentences and we're going to do some exercises. But before we do the exercises, let's go over the rules one more time. I will very briefly mention what you're expected to do and what the rules are. So there are basically three rules. Rule number one is what? If the situation is possible and something can possibly happen in the present time or future, you use simple present tense plus what? The future tense. For example, you say, if I have time tomorrow, I'll watch TV. That's a possibility. So you use present tense and future tense. If something is impossible at the present time, that's not going to happen, then you use what? You use past tense and you use the word would. For example, if I had time now, I would call my brother. But the fact, what is the fact? The fact is I'm working right now. I don't have time right now. I can't call my brother. So I cannot say if I have time. I say what? If I had time now, I would call my brother. If something was impossible in the past, you wanted to do it, but it didn't happen because you didn't have, it was not possible. For example, if I say what? If I had time yesterday, I would have called my brother. I didn't have time, I didn't call my brother. Or let's say, if I had gone to Afghanistan last month, I would have visited my brother. Did I go to Afghanistan last month? No. Did I visit my brother? No. But if I had gone, use past perfect. Plus what? Would plus have plus the past participle form. I would have visited him. Means this was my intention, but did not happen. In those situations, you use the conditional sentences. Now let's practice this in these sentences. Sentence number one. I usually call my brother every month. That is a true fact. In other words, if I have, I call my brother every month. If I what? If I have time, I will call my brother. So you use the present tense and say what? I call. So this is a possible situation. Number two, I may call my brother later tonight. That's a true fact. In other words, if I have time, I will call my brother every month. So here you say what? If I have, possible. The third situation, I would like to call my brother now, but I don't have enough time. That's a true fact. In other words, if I had time, I would call my brother now. Which one do you use here? If I have time or if I had time? The correct answer is if I had time now, I would call my brother. But I don't. So if the situation is unreal, impossible, you use past tense for present time. Sentence number 4. I didn't have time to call my brother yesterday. That's a true fact. I did not call him. In other words, now which form of have do you use? If I have what? I would have called my brother. The correct answer is if I had time, I would have called my brother. Had is what? Past perfect tense. Because you talk about a situation in the past that did not take place, you use past perfect tense. Now, let's leave the brother alone. Let's talk about other sentences. Sentence number 5. Tim wants to buy a new car, but he does not have enough money. That's the fact. He wants to buy a car, but he doesn't have money. That's a true fact. In other words, if Tim enough money, he would buy a car. But does he have money? The answer is what? No, he doesn't. So you use what? Past form because it's unreal, impossible. So you say, if Tim had money now, he would buy a new car. But the fact of the matter is what? He doesn't have money. So the situation is what? Impossible. If it's impossible, use past tense for present time. Sentence number 6. Abdul wants to find a better job, but he doesn't speak English well. That's a true fact. In other words, if Abdul speak English, he would find a better job. Now, what is the fact? The fact is that Abdul doesn't speak English, but he wants to find a job. So which form of speak can you use here? The correct answer is what? Spoke. If Abdul spoke English, he would find a better job. But does he speak English? No. That's the fact. He doesn't speak English. So if he spoke English, he would find a better job. So he can find a better job because he doesn't speak English well. So again, if situation is impossible at the present time, in English, you use past tense for present time. Let me give you some other examples and some other type of exercises. Here, I want you to choose the correct answer based on the meaning. Choose the correct completion. Let me read the sentence for you first. If Zahir were a doctor, he would work in a hospital. This is the sentence. If Zahir, the name of the person, were a doctor, he would work in a hospital. Now I have A and B, two possible meaning of this sentence. Zahir is a doctor and he works in a hospital. Zahir isn't a doctor and he doesn't work in the hospital. Which one is the correct answer? Let me read the sentence again. If Zahir were a doctor, he would work in a hospital. If Zahir were, you cannot say Zahir was in this because of F. If Zahir were a doctor, he would work in a hospital. Zahir is a doctor and he works in a hospital. Zahir isn't a doctor and he doesn't work in a hospital. Which one is the correct answer? The correct answer is B. Zahir isn't a doctor and he doesn't work in a hospital. But if he were, that's why were, you use past for now. That means what? The situation is impossible. Zahir is not a doctor, but if he were a doctor, he would work in a hospital. So he's not working in a hospital, he's not a doctor. That's how you use F clause. I believe in Farsi we do the same thing. We use past tense for the present time. So if you translate this sentence in English, in Farsi, if Zahir were a doctor, he would work in a hospital, you use past tense for the situation which is present form. Sentence number 2. This should be F. If it were 6 p.m., I could leave. So this is F, not T. If it were 6 p.m., I could leave. Is it 6 p.m. now? Look at your watches right now. It is what? 5:30. It is not 6 o'clock. Can I leave right now? No. I have a program until 6 o'clock. So that's the fact. So now, A, it isn't 6 p.m. and I cannot leave. B, it's 6 p.m. and I can leave. Which one is the correct answer? The correct answer is what? A. That's another word for this is what? Contrary to fact condition. It's a condition which is what? Contrary to fact, against the fact. The fact of the matter is something else. So let me first fix this F to ed to F. If it were 6 p.m., I could leave. But it is not 6 p.m. and I cannot leave. So that's what? Again, I couldn't fix it for some reason. F, here, it's fixed now. It better be. Yes, it is fixed. If it were 6 p.m., I could leave. Means it isn't 6 p.m. and I cannot leave.